Good afternoon. Today is Thursday, October 3rd. It's just about 2 p.m. and I am in Capitol Reef National Park. I was here a couple of years ago and actually at this very same trailhead. I am at the Chimney Rock trailhead. Today I'm going to be doing 2 nights in Upper Spring. So I did Lower Spring before. And one unique thing about this park is the loops aren't perfect. So I actually have a 4-mile walk on this road just to get to my trailhead. But it's about a 22.5-mile loop. Did speak to the rangers at the visitor center. You have to go there and get your permit, and there is no known water on this, so I'm packing it all in. So I'm carrying my weight, possibly a small spring on day 2. So it's gonna be a busy highway walk here, which is never fun, but you got to do what you got to do. Drive, I got here in 6.5 hours, which was much faster than what my GPS was telling me. And I can tell you, driving by the ski resorts this morning, it was in the 20s. So temp here will be in the 60s. And at night in the 20s as well. My big landmark is going to be the W. Don't know if I'll make it there today, but I'd like to be looking at it. So, visitor center is maybe about 4 or 5 miles that way. I'm heading this way, so I'll check in at my next stop, which will be Holt Draw. All right, so I'm about halfway onto my hike, and I got 2 rocks in front of me. So again, everything on this hike I'm doing today and the next couple days will be brand new scenery for me, but I don't remember the traffic. It's probably 60 miles per hour that goes by here, so gotta be ready for that. One of the interesting things about Capitol Reef is there's no permit fee, there's no gate fee, so literally I'm doing all this for free. And as I'm going along, Sulphur Creek is in a drainage over here. You can see they've done a lot of really good work here, and I'm glad they have, but just curious how they pay for all of it. It must be the car camping and RV sites, because it's like 120 sites that are here, and it was full. I did check. So as far as backpackers, you just have to be prepared. A lot of the loop trips will require a little of this type of walking. So again, I'm doing mine at the beginning right here, but good signs where you are. So I am getting close to Holt Draw. So again, I will check in at that trailhead, but I'm going to say I'm probably halfway there. All right, so my adventure is getting to be a little bit more exciting now. You know why? Because I'm back exactly where I was about 3 hours ago. So here's what happened. I parked here, I walked that road, I went to mile marker 73, and I went all around it trying to find the trailhead. And I couldn't find it. I found a campground with some motorhomes there, talked to some people there, they're all out of state. They had no idea what it was. I took my map out, my GPS, I did everything I could. And then I thought I found the trail. Cool. I went on it for about 1.5 miles, and then it just appeared to me like, this does not feel right. It doesn't look right. So I turned around, I came back. I actually got back here, went back to the visitor center, talked to the rangers, kind of told me, you know, I need to change my itinerary. And I was just asking if there was a sign and all that. And they said no, but they gave me a better idea. So I got back in my car, driving here. I got to find this place. So I'm in my car, I went a little further, and then I found a dirt road. I didn't really care for that dirt road, so I decided not to park there. I just didn't want to take my car on it. So I'm back here, Chimney Rock, so I can still get into this canyon, just not the same way, obviously. So that's what I'm gonna do. And since it's already, gosh, 5:45, I think I'm gonna go ahead and only go a few miles in, and I'll head into the upper canyon, and then tomorrow I'll do the lower one. So still gonna have a good time out here, but just a little different. So I'll check in once I get some elevation, but I've already got probably 11 or 12 miles in the legs. And I even asked about tent camping. Every site is full, so I was just gonna tent camp, you know, by the car and say, all right, I'll regroup tomorrow, but we'll be all right. So all right, I'm heading that way. Hopefully I'll be at the top of that ridge in the next 45 minutes. All right, I'm at the top of the bench now, and I can tell I'm getting closer to entering the canyon because the wind is picking up. It kind of funnels it. I'm guesstimating I have about 45 minutes of daylight until it's down, especially once I'm back in here. So literally once I get into Upper Spring, I'll start looking for a site, just so I'm set up and ready to go. But very peaceful and quiet out here. I haven't seen anyone, haven't heard anyone. No noises or anything, but here is the general direction I'm going. Get a view once right around this bush right here. So right around the corner you can see the big tall guys over there, so I'll be heading into those. So I'm gonna kind of oddball on this trip. I have 2 nights in this canyon. So tomorrow I may make it a base camp, see how much of upper I can do, or I may go down and finish slower and turn around and come back and plane it. I'll just kind of take it and see how it goes. So this is gonna be a trip, at least this section, no specific agenda other than I don't want to do another road walk. So if I just do the lower, hit the road at 6 miles back here, I'd rather be hanging out in here, even though there's no water. So, hey, we'll see how it goes. So, all right, once I get a better view, I'll check in. Otherwise, I'm gonna try to make some time and get as far as I can into Upper Spring Canyon. All right, so I've had the sunlight, have not had direct contact with me in at least a half hour now. So it's actually cooled down a little bit. Also seeing my first signs of the, what I call the Swiss cheese rock. That goes in a little bit, which is very, very unique. Very, very smoothed out, but Capital Reef kind of get the name, so you'll see it as we approach. There is no route finding issues at all in here. I haven't seen the sign yet between the 2 canyons, but there's some side ones that are worth exploring too. I just came back from one. I only went in a 1/4 mile. It was kind of rocks and boulders. As you're doing this hike right here, you do come to some sections where there's big boulders and actually obstacles that you can't go straight. So you kind of back up, you look left, you look right, and you can kind of make out a path, but some of them are actually quite far around it. I think I've only had 3 so far. Not difficult, but again, it's just not straight, hop over a boulder and go kind of thing. Haven't seen a single person in here. So since I parked my car, no one here. Temp is actually really, really nice. I have a feeling within an hour it'll be cold. So I'm gonna start looking for my site, I'd say in a half hour. By 6:30 I wanna be there and setting up. So I'm hoping there's a sign that kind of tells me what both canyons are. And I believe there is. Otherwise, feeling really good. I probably did the most highway miles I've done in a long, long time. In fact, last time I was here, it's probably the most I've done as well. So something about this place and walking on the road, but unique structure here. Look at that. 2 trees right in the middle of the pathway. When it does rain, I would assume travel here is non-existent. You just got to go for higher ground and kind of wait it out. So, all right, once I get closer to my site, I'll check in. All right, it's only 10 minutes later and I'm at my sign now. So Highway 24 is 6.5 that way. So I'm gonna go ahead and head up this way, the upper, and probably not too far today, just enough to be out of the way, be in a safe area where I'm not on the soil, and explore it tomorrow. But very peaceful in here. Not a sound. It's even weird there's no birds in here. You would think with all the Swiss cheese holes, this would be great hideouts for them, but nothing. So I'm gonna go along this way and find a site, hopefully a couple miles up there. All right, it's just past 7 o'clock and light is fading fast here. So I figured I'll take a shot outside my tent. I have dinner going right now, so I am freezer bag cooking. Have it in there. It's like a taco rice. I'll put some Fritos on it. And I already had a Snickers for dessert. And then, oh, just fell over. Nice thing is I found a backcountry bar. So I was gonna have this with my dinner, but I couldn't wait any longer. It takes about 20 minutes to make those. So that was a really nice touch right there. So as far as my water supply, that's what I have for tonight. I'll wake up tomorrow. I'll have breakfast, a bottle. And there's not supposed to be any water at Upper Spring, but I'm gonna go up it a little bit. But in lower there possibly could. So that's what I'm gonna kind of conserve, and I'll see what I can find down there. You can tell just by being in this area that I'm in right now, these leaves are all from last season. And the wash is right over here, so you definitely don't want to be in the wash. It's not supposed to rain, but also it just tells me the water level got this high even when it was, because these leaves would be gone. Also always want to look up. So great view. Look how tall those are. I got that, and I got that. But there's just something about sleeping directly underneath it that's not so great. So rather than sleeping on the red sand, I kind of like the leaves and the debris and all that. So I also figure no thermal blanket tonight, so it's going to be cold, but it might be a couple degrees warmer up here. Good wind coming in, so I've got the narrow side of my tent going into it, but should sleep good tonight. So overall, hiked about 15 miles today, and it just so happens that 10 of it was on that road, which is ridiculous, but definitely glad to be in here. So I'm just going to make it a little bit different adventure. And I must have a mini leak in one of my water bottles, because these are my paper maps that I'm drying out right now in the breeze. and they're not like soaking wet, but just like a little drip. So that tells me like a little pin needle worth is probably in there. So I'm gonna see if the wind will air dries these out. Again, navigation's not a super duper huge big deal in here, but it's always nice just to have a general nap in the area and stuff like that. So, all right, I usually let those sit for about 20 minutes. The nice thing about not being in Colorado, I'm not worried about bears. I'm not worried about marmots getting the salt in my food and all that. So I will keep everything within proximity. I'll probably throw everything under the big log over here, but not really worried. And if something does come by, it's all leaves, so I'll hear it. So I'll probably check in once I'm in my tent, and I haven't even gone in yet because I figured once I set everything up in there, I'll be in there. So long day, 6.5 hour drive, 10-mile walk on the road. I later believe I found where it was supposed to be. Didn't feel comfortable taking my car on it. Didn't want to walk it again, so I figured, you know what? I'll just come in here and kind of do it this way. I doubt I'll make it to the W tomorrow. That would be a far way to go and have to come back. But I'll still spend 2 nights in here and then at Pleasant Creek. So I will check in after dinner. All right, so it is a recap of day 1. I am in my tent now. Everything is now set up. And you can tell it is pitch black outside. Literally, if I don't have this light on, you can't even see your hand out there tonight. So definitely a dark night here in the canyon. Not too cold yet. I'm sure it will later on, but I'll be bundled up and I'm not worried about that. You can see right here, I got my maps drying, so I think I can bring those back. And again, it's a dry camp, but I just have the stuff air drying anyway right here. So after I went back to the visitor center to see if I needed doing my permits, I talked to the rangers. They gave me a better description of the site. There's no sign. I actually drove there knowing that I probably wasn't going to do it, but I was like, I got to see what it looks like. And I believe I saw the road, and it was pretty bad. High corners, 4-wheel drive, no big deal, not in mine. So I decided go back to Chimney Rock. So I'm glad I'm doing the agenda that I'm doing, and the advantage of me doing the lower spring is there's supposedly water there. It would be nice to find some water tomorrow. So I'll know that after 3-4 hours of hiking. So again, this is a dry camp, so I have very limited supply. I'm not worried about it, but again, it's always good to know that it is there. So tomorrow morning, the way I'm feeling now, I'll probably go explore a few miles up here. I may just leave my stuff right here and go explore, and then finish the canyon, go to Fremont River, and literally turn around and come back. Obviously, I'll know if there's water before getting to the Fremont River. That's kind of nasty water, but I'm glad I did the agenda I was going to do. I actually was thinking about car camping as well. I said, all right, maybe I'll just car camp, I'll regroup, and I'll do my agenda tomorrow, but everything here is full. So again, I'm glad I'm doing the agenda that I'm doing, and I can tell there's definitely no one out here. So when I talked to the ranger about changing my agenda and all, he kind of shrugged his shoulders and no big deal. I'm like, all right, I tried. So again, it's about 8 o'clock right now. I'm probably gonna read my Kindle for maybe about 20 minutes, take one more potty break, and I'm definitely gonna zip this up because it will be colder tonight, and I'll check in with you tomorrow. Morning, it is day 2 on Friday, October 4th. I am in Upper Spring Canyon. You see I got water going. Gonna have oatmeal, got some coffee, and I'll add some of the Via stuff into it as well. Make a nice 20-ounce size. Definitely could warm up. It's probably in the mid-40s right now. It was not really cold at all to me at all last night, with the exception of about an hour before dawn. But looks like my water's boiling. Let me turn this off. But otherwise, a really, really peaceful night. Didn't hear a lot of noises, an occasional bird. I may have had a squirrel or two back here, but otherwise, I mean, absolutely not a sound at all. So today, my goal is I'm going to continue going through Upper Spring Canyon, and I'm going to see if I can actually find the spring that they talk about. It would be nice just to find some water, so I have some through the day. I'll have good meals tonight and tomorrow. If I can't find one this way, then I'll head down Lower Spring Canyon, and there may be one there as well. And if I do find it, it probably won't even be an inch deep, but it's something you could dig, and at least it will be a water source. But very peaceful out here. It's just strange. You can tell that it's definitely in October now and getting colder at night, because normally in the desert, all the animals and insects come alive at night and all night long, but not a sound. So, all right, I'm gonna enjoy my breakfast and be out of here in maybe a little over an hour. All right, day 2, it's about 9:30. Camp is all packed up. Site survey is done. I'll admit I probably had my coffee for about 15 minutes and just enjoyed kind of sitting here and looking at the rock. And kind of interesting that right in front of me, you can see a giant fracture occurring. At some point, some of that will come down. So the trail is literally the wash, which is right here in front of me, and not a lot to it. So again, agenda-wise, I'm probably only going to go 2-3 miles up it, take a look, see if I can find that spring. If not, I'll head back the other way. I'm going to guess the Fremont River is about 8 miles from here. And again, I'm not crossing it, but I might want to go to it, come back up, because I got one more night out here. But so this is a alternative agenda for me. So because of that, little slippery here, I can kind of, hey, do whatever I want in here. Definitely chilly. The sun is just starting to peek out over there, and again, it's 9:30, so there's parts of these canyons probably this time of year won't see it until 11 o'clock. It's not terribly cold out. It's actually nice. So I took the leggings off. I like to hike in shorts anyway. So, all right, I see something of interest. I will check in, but otherwise, a good start to the day. So the trail is actually way over there and to the left, but again, I'm here to explore. I saw a little animal track, and lo and behold, if you look directly in front of me, I believe this is the spring. All right, so definitely not a gushing torrent or what I would call the best water source, but I'm definitely gonna take advantage of it. So I'm probably gonna walk this area here and see where it's moving the best, where's the best area to get it. And I have one empty water bottle, one bag, so I will take advantage of this. Probably be here for a good 20 minutes or so trying to find the best spot and making it, but it's good to see because again, I had a dry camp, so it may even get cleaned up a little bit as well. So I will check in once I'm done getting water. And I brought a stirry pin on this one. It's where you stir in the UV light, only because of the freezing temps at night. I didn't want to take cartridges that can freeze and break, and they're no longer workable. So this can be a little work with this, but I'll check in maybe once I get water going. All right, water situation is really good. So again, as you're hiking through the canyon, you always want to look at these side canyons, especially when you turn really green, like this is the desert bamboo, which is following this. But I went up here maybe about a quarter mile around that turn over there. The spring literally starts 100 feet in front of me. It's not bubbling, it's not gushing, it's just there. So literally right here is where I got my water from. It's cool. It's got some insects in it, which is a good sign as well. So I now have 2 full electrolyte bottles and all the water I'll need for dinner tonight and breakfast tomorrow. Got to carry the weight, but it's not killer. And again, I'm not trying to pound out miles right now to where I need to be somewhere in an hour and a half. So I'm probably going to keep going up Upper Spring Canyon, maybe until around noon today, maybe 1 o'clock, lunch hour or so, and take a break, turn around and head back and start heading toward the Fremont River. But again, I'm not planning on crossing it, just approaching it, and then I'll actually turn back around again and go into Lower Spring Canyon and find a place for tonight. So my next check-in will be somewhere further up on Upper Spring Canyon. All right, it's about a half hour later. I'm still in the wash. So the nice thing is, very easy path. There's no point of concern of where am I going. It's pretty easy walking once you're in the hard pack, but it's definitely a bunch of S shapes. If you notice, alcove ahead, you're just kind of meandering back and forth. So at no point does it really go more than 100 yards without turning. So definitely I'm looking for goats and stuff like that. Large canyon, but it's very open here. I believe at the end of Lower, it's more narrow, but definitely nice and neat. The breeze actually does feel pretty good right now. So morale is good, all is good. You will see tracks every now and then. I see coyotes, see a lot of deer, probably the ram or the mountain goat as well, but otherwise very, very quiet out here. And the other thing that really stuck out to me, no lizards. So usually in Utah they'd be out sunning themselves right now. I'm sure they're here somewhere, but this time of day they should be sunning themselves unless they burrow down. So, all right, I'm still heading in that direction and eventually heading toward the right around the big alcove rock. All right, I am off trail heading to the alcove, and check out in front of me. Looks like I got a family of goats that are bedding down. Couple babies. Don't want to scare them. Yeah, 1, 2. Yeah, there's some youngins in there. Doll sheep? I don't know what they are. So, all right. I'm going to let them be, go around the long way, but I was really trying to see this. If I wouldn't have just walked up here from the bench here, I wouldn't have seen them, but it looks like they're awake and all that now, so Sorry guys, nap time's over. Pretty cool. All right, so I'm gonna let them be and see if maybe I can go around the long way over here, but I just kind of want to see if there's anything in that alcove of interest. So kind of neat. First sighting of animals I've had out here. Definitely a baby. That one is getting milk from the mother right there. So I don't see, looks like a dominant male in this group over here. But, all right, gonna keep on going and see if I can make it to that alcove. All right, so I turned around a while ago and I went by the alcove again, and the I believe they're doll sheep. They were still there, so I let them be. So this area is not known for having pictographs, pectographs, or ruins. But if there ever was to be, it would be in something like that, but I don't think there is. So, all right, I'm heading back now. I should be at that trail junction here in a few miles, going into Lower Spring. Just an example how the terrain is constantly changing. So literally, I just came from rocks, sand, and now I'm back into the rocks. So you do kind of have to have your eyes open as you're doing it right here. So you're kind of scanning upward and down at the same time, and more down in an area like this, obviously. And so far on this part of the hike, I've only had two what I call true obstacles that you have to go around. So no big issue there. As far as footprints, I saw one other set, and I can tell it has not rained here in a long time, because even in some of the rocks that have pools, there's no water in them. But otherwise, I saw mine this way and here. So literally, these are mine. It looks like one other pair. So, all right, I'm gonna keep heading around that corner, and I should be at that Trail Johnson sign within the hour or so, and maybe I'll take a lunch in that area. All right, still going along, and here's an example of a slot chute. So if you look right below me, it's maybe about 40 feet down. Goes on for quite a while. So I am on the upward bench, which is where the trail actually is. And I must have missed the sign from yesterday, because I'm going along right now. I'm like, all right, I don't remember seeing this, but right direction. But definitely starting to change a little bit. The exception of right here, I think it should be narrowing up a little bit more. But definitely a neat area. Seen a couple of lizards now, more cactus. They're all really small. Here's some right here. Obviously they're not blooming or flowering, they're getting ready to lay low for the winter, but first cairns. So now there's little trail markers over here as well. So definitely cool, plenty of Swiss cheese. And what's interesting is you get up really close to it, it's really smooth inside it, almost like it's professionally, I don't know, manicured. So very, very smooth. You can take your hand to it. There's nothing rough about it. So definitely a cool view. All right, so maybe go along for about another hour. I'm still feeling good. The weight of the water, I don't even really notice it yet. But I will take a break soon. I'm gonna just see if I can get to a point where I'm like, now I know exactly where I am. All right, so if you are afraid of heights or drop-offs, this is where it will happen. So you go down that's not a pleasant ending to the trail. So you have to go over it. We got some scree over here as well. All right. Probably not the smartest, but both my hands were occupied. Okay. Get through that little rock. Gotta get up. All right, so not the greatest viewing of me, but still gotta get through this, right? Whew. Yeah, that would not be a fun shoot down right there. So I'm gonna pass on that. Just maintain good balance, good contact. All right, as soon as you kind of get through that little area, it's flattened down by hikers. We don't want to have a traffic jam there either. Not a lot of area to yield. Yeah, so definitely a little different part where you are elevated a little bit from the very bottom. And even the color of the rock is changing too. Saw my first ephedra. So the nice thing is, yeah, you do get different looks and feels to the canyon here. So at some point, this is going to keep going up in this bench and it will drop down into here. So, all right, gonna keep moving along. Definitely slower going in the spring canyon, so you run into areas like this. So I actually just come down this, but you can play with it there, or I went all the way up around this tree, over through here, and came down over here. So you come to spots like this, you kind of need to look at it, and you can tell much more narrow. So it's slower hiking just because you're more limited on your space and area options. You see cairns every now and then, and again, in theory, it's downhill, but just a view ahead of me. So I've been here before, but I'll be honest, I just don't remember it like this at all. I'm gonna see if in a few miles I'll find the camp spot I was at before. I'll recognize that. Nice little wind coming in, so again, moving along, not nearly as fast as before, but still definitely very enjoyable. And the temperature is great, and the wind's even kind of nice too. All right, quick little lunch break, and I recognize this spot. I believe this is where I camped. I was here, it was either 2 or 3 years ago doing this right here. And if I recall, I didn't think that there was a ton of great camping spots here in this canyon because it was narrow. And I remember I also picked this, it was a cloudy day then, because right across I felt, all right, if it was really bad, you can just go up here. But otherwise, pretty narrow canyon, not a ton of great spots. This spot here was absolutely fine. No issues with that. Well, since I'm kind of doing an audible trip now, I think what I'm going to do is just keep on going, go across the river and make the boring walk back to my car. Then I'm going to see if I can up my agenda one day, maybe go to Pleasant Creek and actually get there tonight. So I've never been there. Kind of interested in trying out a different area of the park. So I think I'm going to go ahead, and once I make it down to the river, just keep on going, unless I see something that looks like a great site where I could make camp, hike in the area, and explore more. But so my initial plan is keep walking down to the river. All right, just an example of the trail. So you're definitely doing a lot of boulder hopping, but also just the height of where I'm at right now. It's incredible. So I believe I'm getting close, probably within a mile of the exit point, and that's just primarily because the wind is picking up. It's channeling through here, and it's probably very open up there. So did it once before, and I remember last time I did it, I did find small seeps of water in some of the pools. So I'm thinking it hasn't rained here in quite a long time. Again, I don't need water, but it's always just fun just to try to find it. All right, so I'm going to keep moving along, and unless I find a spot that looks like it'd be really, really good, I'll probably just keep on going. But my mind's not 100% made up yet, so we'll see what I can find out around the next couple corners. So the last half mile of this hike has had a spring in it the entire way. In fact, you can tell the texture of the sand I'm on right now is actually kind of wet. So it's seeping through in other areas as well. So plenty of water in this section, so if you were to bring a filter, it would not be a problem. This actually looks like it was more than the last time I was here a couple of years ago. The only difference is it's larger quantity, it's just further down. So at my camp before, I remember there were pools of water where I was washing up before going to bed at night. So again, I think we're getting pretty close here. We get a general view of the steepness of the walls. There's a guy be hitting 500 feet, so you're definitely enclosed in here. And I am seeing clouds now, not rain clouds, but just clouds in general. Every now and then you get a pretty big breeze that cools it down, but otherwise very peaceful. And I'm going to predict I'm going to do this whole hike outside of the beginning of the trailhead without seeing anyone in it. But I do know it's a popular day hike here as well, so I'll check in once I get to the river. All right, so it's 2:30 in the afternoon, and I just made camp in the last 15 minutes or so. So I've kind of got it hidden away, which is the idea. I'm not by water. I'm elevated, but yet I'm not right next to these huge canyon walls because of one little rock. And that would not be a good ending, and a real big one. Literally right here, but I don't see anything really loose up there. So I figured, all right, my permit is in here, so I really do need to stay there. Plus, it would have taken me another 2.5 hours probably to get to my car, get cleaned up. So I didn't want to arrive to a trailhead that I'm not familiar with at 5, 6 o'clock at night. So I'm going to stay here. I did explore a little bit, so the out is not too much further away. So I actually went up further up, and I kind of turned back, decided to stay in. So, all right, nice weather, nice and relaxing. My voice definitely echoes. So I'm probably going to get the tent set up and everything like that. Maybe have a snack, and maybe just do some relaxed hiking without the pack on, and maybe see if I can hit any of these benches or shelves, or I don't know, just see what I can find. So I'll probably check in around dinner time. All right, so it's dinner time, and I'm actually using my stove right now just because there is water 100 yards down that way, and I can clean it if I need to. But also, I freezer bag cook, so I'm having
cheeseburger helper, which is actually pretty good after you dehydrate it. You add gravel, which is hamburger. But my Ziploc had a micro tear in it, so I poured the water in it. I was going to put it in my bagging, let it sit for 20 minutes, and then there's a little tear in it. So then I took one of my other trash bags and I said, all right, I'll use that. I tried that for a couple of minutes and I'm like, you know, I'm by water now, so I have a stove with simmer control. Let's just go ahead and cook a dinner with it. Also have recovery drink, so it's like a pretty big white powder that's in here. So that helps you out as well with your electrolytes, calcium, magnesium, all that. So the only weird thing with this spot is the wind here is horrendous. It'll come up every 5 minutes or so, but it's channeling from that direction over there, and the trees will just, everything will go. I had some things hanging over here. They're not wet, they're just hanging. They all fall off, so I have a feeling tonight, maybe pretty windy here. I will definitely button up the tent, and if you notice, I got rocks all around the side of it too. All right, let's take a quick look at this. Ooh, a little hot. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn the stove off. I think it's time for dinner. So again, if I need to, I can clean up with this down in the water below. And you can see that. That is a shot right there of dinner. Looks pretty good. I'll put some Fritos on top. Good to go. So I'll maybe check in later on. I may even do a little bit of hiking later. I did some earlier, but it was so windy that I just decided to turn back. I wanted to make sure I had rocks around my tent. So, all right, we're gonna eat dinner, and I'll check in later on. All right, so it's about 6 o'clock at night. I got everything cleaned up by pots and pans, so I went a couple 100 yards down that way, took care of that. And the wind, it's not as bad, but will still come in through every now and then, just out of nowhere and all that. So right now it's pretty silent. So I'm getting camp at least ready for the night. I'm not tired. I'm gonna definitely go in and read for a while, but nice thing is that backpack was the one I took on the Colorado Trail. And I actually had, I'm gonna say it was a field mouse that went in, ate some of the zippers in the bottom of it, and he actually damaged it. I sent it into Osprey. They have the almighty guarantee. You have to pay to ship it there, but they fixed it, patched it up for me. So now I have it on my chair. I put my rain sheet over the entire thing, so the whole thing is covered right there. So even if it was to rain, it's not supposed to. In theory, it would keep stuff out and it'd be harder for a mouse to get into there, but my goodness, if he really wants to, not a lot you can do. And again, I'm gonna have my food right here because I'm not really worried about anything in this area that would disturb it or go after it. So I still have it sealed and locked, but not because I'm afraid there's gonna be a bear in the area. It's just, that's the right thing to do. So I'm probably in the next 20 minutes probably gonna get the tent and do a little bit of reading. I'm sure I'll come out again and take another bathroom break before I go to bed, but I went ahead and filled up a water bottle as well, so I have plenty for tomorrow. So the agenda tomorrow is, the river's not too far ahead. I may actually even do it in my sandals if I can, because I'm gonna be fjording it. Other side, put your shoes on, may go to the visitor center, may just go right on by it, but then I've got like a 6.5 mile walk just to get to my car. I'll change clothes, get cleaned up, and then my next trail I'd actually have to drive to it at Pleasant Creek, and I've not been there before, so I'm kind of looking forward to that. I don't think it's very hard. It has running water. It's just more of a relaxing adventure, I should say. But so overall, the Spring Canyons, I would say Lower Spring Canyon is more challenging just because it's more narrow, there's more rock fall. And all right, so the wind is picking up now. Just an idea of what happens. Same direction, really splits right through these canyons right here. Ooh, comes and gets you. All right, so maybe I'll check in one more time tonight. Otherwise, a very good day out here. All right, good morning. So this is for me, just finished night number 2. So it's about 8 a.m. Definitely a lot colder this morning, a good 10 to 15 degrees colder. Nothing froze, so not approaching freezing, but just enough to where you gotta have your jacket on. I don't have socks on. So this morning, got my coffee done. I put a little mocha in there, doing some oatmeal. And again, I've got water way down there. There were a couple birds last night, and they were definitely calling out to each other. So they're loud just because it echoes in these canyons. But real cool scenery here in my makeshift campsite. Have not seen in my 2 days in these canyons anyone actually physically in them. So Fremont River is down that way. That's where I'll be going out today. And then I'll be walking by the visitor center. Don't know if I'll stop there or not. I could get water there, but I'm not going to need to. And I'll make the march back to my car. And I'll have to look at the map because my next destination is Pleasant Creek. And I know that's an off drive somewhere. So I'll have to look at that more carefully. But very quiet and peaceful. And boy, it'll be nice if the sun can get here in a half hour. So I probably won't be leaving for another hour. Still got to pack up. I'm gonna enjoy my breakfast. So, all right, ready to get started on, I guess this would be for me, day 3. All right, good morning. It's about 9 a.m. and I am now heading out for my hike again across the Fremont River, and then again back to my car at the Chimney Rock Trailhead. So just from the river to the trailhead, it's about 6 miles, and that's gonna be a highway walk. So not too fun. I've done it once before. If I recall, there's a couple of 7 or 8% grades. Something I normally would never do is, right now, I'm hiking in sandals. So wouldn't recommend that, but this is flat terrain. And again, I'm getting ready for a river crossing. And since I still have another day ahead of me, I don't want to get all my footwear and socks wet. So I'm wearing out my back. That's why I wear, or I should say I attach a couple of carabiners. You can always hang stuff that you need to get access to. So kind of interesting to see what it looks like. I just peeked around the corner of it yesterday and I was day exploring, and it looked relatively though, not worried about it. But if it ever was raining, I could see how that would be really difficult. So again, right now, kind of in a muddy wash area because there is a natural spring. Not very deep, as you see it's flowing, but it's definitely got the algae everywhere. So because I know I have water today, all I have with me right now are both my water bottles are pretty full. Neither of my carry bags I'm using. If I really needed to, I could go to the visitor center, but I think I'll be just fine. All right, so I'll check in once I get to the river, but last look at where I was, and you can tell the sun still has not come down here yet. All right, I'm almost there, and I still haven't had sunlight yet, but I should soon. But here's just an idea when it does flash flood in here. So I'm 5'10". That is literally right at my height of leftover debris right there, which is very dry, so I can tell it's been a while. Doesn't mean it can't be higher, but if you notice, there's a lot of space in here for that water to accumulate in as well. It's not like I'm in a little hole where it's only 8 feet across. This is a huge area. Granted, it is by a big corner, but just an idea, when it does flash flood in here, it's seriously dangerous. I remember coming by some of these areas last night looking for a site, and the only thing that stuck out to me was they're all within visual sight. So you're supposed to be, 200 yards away, and there's the rules and regs. So that's why I went back, because it was at least elevated. It wasn't really by the running stream, so it was in theory legal. But I have done all of Upper Spring, I should say not all of Upper Spring, part of Upper Spring, and all of Lower, and I have not seen a single hiker in these canyons. Now today is Saturday, so I believe literally after I cross the river, the people bomb will definitely be going off, and I believe the trailhead I'm going to will be pretty popular for day hikers. So man, I hope I can park there. But definitely solitude, self-reliance, all that in here. The really only challenge is, can you find the water? And both times I've done this hike, I have, so I'm not going to say it's a great challenge. It probably would not be a ton of fun in late July and August. There's areas of shade and all that, and if you were smart you could do it, but it'd be probably better to do a day hike where you're moving and grooving kind of thing. All right, so I think around this corner I'll get my first sunlight here in about 50 yards, which will feel great, and then I'm almost there. I believe you can hear the river as well, and it's not very deep, but it's kind of that muddy, ucky looking water. I would not want to filter that as my drinking source. All right, I'm almost there. All right, so the hike is predominantly 90% hard packed, but every now and then you get sand like I'm in right now. So I'm kicking it everywhere. Feet are definitely dusty and dirty. But last night, all right, here's the alcove I made it to when I turned around, but beautiful. So it's kind of a good 360 shot of when I'm in right now. The sun has literally only touched me for 2 minutes today, so right behind me there, giant alcove. At least the biggest one on this hike. Definitely cool. So it was a hot day, you could definitely get shade under here. And I would assume there'd be pools of water here when it's running, but that spring is definitely gone now and non-existent. So literally it's just a couple more corners and boom, there you are.
And that alcove actually goes all the way. That's another 50 feet to my left. It's big. Feel it right above me there. All right, I'm almost at the river. All right, so you can probably hear the running water and maybe an occasional car driving by as well, so I can tell I am at the river. All right, I am. And that is definitely, here's a crossing point. So I'm looking and gauging what is the best way to enter. The current is gonna move me a little bit. Well, I'm just gonna go for it. So normally at this time you would undo your straps and all that. I'm gonna do it really, really slow. And the way up is the only part that has me a little bleh. All right, here we go. All right, and to be clear, this is freezing cold water. Wow. Okay. Do it nice and slow. So again, good view of it. A couple of years ago when I did this, I'm going to say this is a little higher. It's hard to see the bottom, but I can now. So now I'm gradually going up. Good for my feet. All right. So now the fun part, getting up this bank. So I'm going to go ahead and set this aside, make sure I get up this bank. So I think it's going to be a two-handed operation. All right, round two. So I'm still even with the camera off and using my hands. I did not like that exit point. I can tell this is much deeper, but it just looks like a ledge. So I just got to go do it. It's definitely a muddy, sandy ground. Just enough in the shade where I can't see it, but oh yeah, this is much better. Now I can. Okay. So unless I slip and trip right here. Whew, all right, that's getting deeper. Okay, what did I just say? Unless I slip and trip right here. All right, live shot for you. Okay, clear the camera a little bit. Definitely not what I would call a delicate exit, but all right. So the water crossing is done. Legs are a little wet. So I'll find a place over here where I can put my shoes on, change, have a little water, then start my hike out. But I'll let you see part of what I'm doing here, because it looks like not what I'd call a great trail, but here we go, much better. So much different than last time. So I can hear cars going by. So I believe I'm not too far from the Grand Wash, the Arch, and I've done those areas before. So my objective now is to get to my car, which is about 6 miles from here. So I'm kind of at the point now where a lot of people are just getting into the park, so that's why you can tell they're going by at high speed and they're all excited and charged up and want to get there. All right, I will check in once I get to a little rest stop, find a bench and can change, and keep going on the roadway. All right, welcome to Capitol Reef National Park on a Saturday. So this lot is absolutely full. There's people that will pull in and circle. This bathroom had a line about 5 minutes ago. So this is the Hickman Bridge, room overlook, two relatively short trails. Good for families, so it's definitely a Saturday, but if my next trailhead is like this, I'm gonna be in serious trouble. I won't know for probably about 3 hours, but I'm gonna go ahead and get started. So from here, 6.5 mile walk. I would say the visitor center shouldn't be too far from here, but again, I'm heading this direction, uphill on the pavement, and in theory, people let you hitchhike here, but I'm not expecting that at all. All right, so as I'm walking along the road, I'm trying to entertain myself a little bit. Here's an old historic schoolhouse, and there's apple groves all over. So this side of the street, this side of the street with some deer. I saw about 4 at the last one. They all have a different name. So literally on one side of the street, so I think it's a different family or something historical. 2 of them were actually open, so there were people with the little Apple, I don't know, devices trying to get them, and it was, I watched it for a little bit. One guy was getting into a ladder and he was literally trying to pick an apple, and what was left, since it's October, was, I mean, literally it was barely visible. It looked to me like it was slightly bigger than a 2 quarters put together maybe. But so you can see these are apple trees, and because of the Fremont River, I guess they can utilize the water. So even though it gets blistering hot here in the summer, they still work. However, they're all gone, and they're definitely all sparsely put out as well. This road walk, if it was summer, would be absolute terror to do. So the landscape is pretty interesting to entertain yourself, but I'll admit I'll enjoy it once I'm past the visitor center and up the hill with my car. But to the exception of me running into the bell sheep, if that's what they are, and I found those by just coincidence, all the deer I'm seeing are in these beautiful fields with apple trees and green grass. Yep, they know I'm here. All right, gonna keep moving along. All right, so I just came from the visitor center, stopped off, had a snack, topped off my water. Sulphur Creek right here. So the town of Torrey is 11 miles away, and it looks like there's another one called Bicknell. Both really lowly populated, not big at all, but so a lot of the traffic may be going there. I don't know where it's before here they're coming from, but nice thing is there is some water in the creek, and I believe you could technically off-road walk this right here. But my objective is to, it's a little bit after noon right now, get to Chimney Rock, which is about 4 miles from here. And my only fear is with all the people I'm seeing here is, man, I hope that trailhead is open. I'm gonna attempt it. I'm gonna try to find it. If the road isn't bad and it's not full, yeah, I'll hang out there and do a night. But if it is, then I may just change clothes and head home. So hopefully 90 minutes would be great, but as you see, it's all uphill as well. So we'll see how this goes, but at least there's scenery to the side, which is kind of neat and interesting. I'm not going to tell you it's ideal, but it is what it is. All right, I will see you. Maybe I'll check in one time halfway there, just if there's anything of interest, but otherwise at the car. All right, so I am on the next leg of my trip right now. Not the greatest dirt road, not horrible, but if there's another car coming, you're kind of SOL. So I'm at Pleasant Creek. So I'm heading in this general direction over here. There should be a lot of water crossings, but already there's a whole bunch of looks like old ranching settlements here. So it's already pretty cool. I believe this is the trailhead, or it will lead to it. Could also be an animal trail. But just a general 360 of what cool over there too. So definitely some old settlements, and up there that may be related to rangers. It was a private road, so that could be for them. I don't think I have to go too far until I might see some artifacts. That could be pictographs, hectographs, could even be like pottery. Not totally sure what it is. They don't really talk about it a lot. Even in this brochure right here, it doesn't mention it a lot, but I just bumped into one lady that was up there, and she was telling me a little bit about it. So I guess her husband is out here. So all right, I'm gonna do some bushwhacking for a bit. I'm gonna assume I'm gonna be heading in the general direction where all the trees are over here. So hopefully this is the actual route itself. All right, so the difference with this hike right here is I'm surrounded by, it's like quaking aspen trees, and the leaves on these are actually turning. But this hike is known for, you have a lot of stream crossings. So nice fresh water. That's why I've only got my 2 water bottles with me. Although if I'm thinking about it, I left my pre-purifier back in the car, but no big deal. So I've heard 19, 20 crossings where it kind of meanders back and forth. Since I'm not aggressive hiking, I'm gonna go ahead and leave my shoes on and just sort of let the magic happen. Woo, it's getting cold. Now, if I was gonna be going up huge hills and doing tons of miles, I probably wouldn't do that. But realistically, this is like 3.5 miles kind of find your site. So this should be much more of a relaxed hike right here. But it's definitely different. The road is about 10-mile drive. The last 2 miles are dirt road and definitely single track. I had 3 cars coming the other way, and definitely one of you has to come to a complete stop and pull over. And there's a couple areas where, ugh, really yucky, but just a general view. So definitely a different feeling. It's about 1:45 in the afternoon, so I'm not going to say it's hot, but the sun is definitely out. But having that water close by should make it pretty nice. So I should see some pictographs or pectographs in the next 20 minutes or so. So I'll sign in once I get to them. So I literally just came from the river, which is down there, but I was all the way over there by the base of those rocks. And as I'm going along, if I'm going to find artifacts and stuff, it's like, well, it's gonna be along the rock wall faces, right? I found prints, but getting here there wasn't like a specific trail. It was like an animal trail. So again, this is more of just kind of exploratory hiking, since I don't have a huge agenda and it's not a big trail. But I bet if I stay in here and hug the rocks and look in the areas, I'll find some stuff. So when I do, I'll shoot it. So when I was way across over there, I saw this fenced area, and obviously that told me it meant something. And again, it's not in the book. Looks like I have some of the authentic stuff and some mixed in. So I got a date of 1931, and way up there I got cursive, so that's obviously modern. And over here the trees are growing in. Looks like, yeah, you've got some authentic stuff over here that I've seen before at other places. And in here it actually kind of reminds me of Canyonlands a little bit more. So I also have what I call graffiti as well. Keep working my way over here. Oh yeah, there's a whole wall of it over here. So this is up to a $20,000 fine. So I will not be going in here obviously, but so some of that is very authentic and some of it is just people mixing in and trying to be funny. And it looks like there's a little sign over here giving you basic information about what's real and what's not real right here. So some of these it looks like, wow, 2,000 years old, and some of it not so much. So all right, pretty cool area. Some of it's pretty high up there as well, and to carve in it would have taken some time for the real deal stuff here. And it got a good sun exposure, so it's definitely been beaten down for 2,000 years. All right, definitely cool. I'm gonna keep looking for it. All right, so again, as I'm hiking along, head on a swivel looking for stuff. And faint trail, but here is the next section of pictographs. See a date, 1881. A lot of scratching on it. So not big, but just again, back then forms of communication were pretty basic right there. All right, pretty cool. And I'm not going to call what I call a trail to it, but it could be animal trail. But again, if I stay on this right here, I'm off the crypto. You'll also stare and keep going. But all right, so definitely a neat area. I feel even more isolated here than where I was before. I'm not sure why. But it's definitely, again, I've not seen another single person out here, although I drove by some. Figure it's time I give you a 360. Gorgeous open vista view. You can see the arch behind me there, way over there. And I'm gonna do that one myself. It almost looks like a cat with his paw sticking out and his head there, and he's just sort of laying down, but it almost looks like a structure right there. That cool little arch over there as well. I don't see any way of casually getting up there. So the water is right below me. So again, I'm up on a higher point right now, getting a general overview, but the topography is changing a little bit too. So over here, just the coloration of the rocks is even a little different over here. A lot more shelves and stuff. So once I get a site later on, I may try to kind of meander into these a little bit more. So again, not a real big itinerary out here. It's just kind of a go, make a site, and see what you can find. But definitely a very cool area. All right, so my site is set up, and I can tell someone's been here before because the rocks were kind of laid out in the pattern. And it's a pretty good open site. It's a little windy. I've had to definitely shut everything on my tent, but
it is beer o'clock in the backcountry. So the nice thing about having a car stop is I can bring an adult beverage. The stream is 100 yards that way, 75 yards. So I was able to make a little corral around it and cool it down so it tastes great. Like this tastes good. And my real treat is potato chips. It's better than salty chips. So again, with the car stop, you can kind of fit that into it. And today was not meant to be a pound the ground and do everything possible. So I'm going to take about a 15-minute break, enjoy this, and then I'm going to go out and explore a little bit more. And I have my water sandals on now, so I'm going to just try to walk right in the pathway as well. So the hike back from the visitor center today, it's probably the only time my heart rate got elevated. It's actually pretty hilly, and there's a couple signs where it hits 7-8%, and I just marched it. I got there. I decided as soon as I got there, I had to at least check out the parking lot here. The bottom one was full. I'm at the upper one, helicopter. And since I've been here, I've seen 2 groups go by, and it looked like they were with tour guides, because there was someone out front, he was pointing, and they had shirts on. They did not see me, so I'm at this elevated plateau. And right behind me, I just noticed this a couple minutes ago. There's some rocks laid out, like in a pattern, but I don't see anything historical about them, so I think I'm okay there. But again, I'm not here to touch anything or take it. So this will be my spot for the night, and again, this is just more to relax. It's nice having water around to get cleaned up, so I'm going to chill out for a little bit, and if anyone comes by, I'll give them a wave, and in theory, I guess you could say this is my front yard right now, so I'll invite them over. And all right, I'll check in at dinner time. So now I'm not just kind of having fun doing a hike, and here's a cool little area. Actually coming up to a chute. So what's interesting was that group I saw come by earlier. Looks like I can see their prints here, but not a lot of them. But yeah, so here's the first area. Most waterfall I've seen. So, all right, I'm going to keep on moving along. And again, I'm just looking to see what neat little structures I can see, but scanning the walls as well. And nothing popping out at me, but I'll probably do this for about a half hour and turn around and go make dinner. So just after the waterfall, you can still hear it. Kind of hit me well. If there's going to be any pictographs, they're going to be on the wall. And lo and behold, my HD vision, here's a whole bunch. I would call this the best and most authentic yet. So even got some of the red over here, which I've seen in other parts of Canyonlands. Yeah, a little bit of a cowboy graffiti in there as well. Just to think about the time it would have taken to actually etch in there. Wow. So those are authentic and pretty cool. So I think I'm going to keep hugging this rock area here, but again, the most prominent ones right here are right behind me. Those look like ones I've seen before in Canyonlands, so definitely authentic. So, all right, I'm going to keep exploring. So one of the things I've noticed on all my hikes so far is black lava rock. So there's a name for it. It's not black lava rock, but that's what I'm calling it. This is the only area I've actually seen it up higher than the ground I'm walking on. So it's always round, but it's always been on ground level. So even over there is some over there. So this is the only area I've actually seen it above the actual trail, and because of the shape of it, at some point it's got to come down the hill and all that. So that's what's kind of sticking out to me as well. This is probably the biggest bowl area that I've been in and seen. So if I just get here on this rock and kind of do a 360. Nobody here. Definitely cool and neat. So if I'm going to find anything of archaeological value or whatever, I'm only going to go this way for about another 15 minutes and turn around. But I'm definitely going to keep my my eyes peeled for it. But cool. Just look at all these round black boulders. They are everywhere out there. All right, 5 o'clock, time for dinner. And again, just a 360 of the bluff that I'm on. So when I actually came in, I did go to that trail over there you can faintly see. And I checked out over here because it looked like it was more hidden. The problem was the crypto soil, there was not an actual trails there, so I wanted to be on more of like a hard packed sand that I'm on now. And then when I saw some of the rocks laid out, I knew like, all right, good spot. So again, the water is way over there, so I'm up high. So dinner tonight, look at that, backcountry bar, cool. And that is gonna be some jambalaya. I think it's the vegetarians, if I say it right. Make it at home, freeze dry it, and then go to Sam's Club and buy some of their really good brats. I think that's the habanero, so this will be hot, but it's gonna be good. And so I am gonna sit down now and enjoy a good dinner. And now that the sun is gone over the bluff or the range over there, it's definitely cooling off, but beautiful spot right here. This would be a great place for like a first-time backpack, because in the car 3.5 miles that way, you have water. You just did not want to do it in the middle of the summer. You can tell I'm slurring a little bit. That means I'm thirsty, so I better have that beer. All right, I'll probably check in one more time in the tent later tonight. All right, so good evening. It is the end of day 3, so this is night 3. Just got my tent, got everything all set up. It's just a touch before 7 o'clock. Probably have about 20 more minutes of light, and I can tell my allergies are acting up here. A lot more flowers, cacti and these blooming yellow flowers. I don't know what they're called, but pretty much all of them had bees on it. So you're going through the single tract areas. They were on there, kind of looking out for them. So I'll probably take, I hope I have some Afrin or something here in a bit before I go ready for bed. Probably gonna read for an hour and try to get an early night. Try to get to bed by 8:15, 8:30 or so, and hopefully get an early start tomorrow. It's always hard when it's really cold in the morning, but ideally I have probably a 7-hour drive, considering where I am in this park, to get home, and I'll probably stop for a lunch. So I'm gonna just call it time-wise an 8-hour day once I'm literally at my car. So ideally, I'd like to be up by 7 and out of here by 8 o'clock. I usually eat a pretty quick breakfast, Pop-Tarts. I'll still have coffee in the morning. I just like having that. But otherwise, a really unique and neat area of the park. I am probably the only one that's backpacking here as well. So I did see a group when I was setting up, went by earlier, and otherwise they didn't even see me. That's been it. So I will see you in the morning. All right, so it's about 7:45 a.m. on my final day, and I actually had to have my headlamp on in my tent 45 minutes ago. It was that blackout. You couldn't even see your hand. And I guess I happened to glance at my clock, and it was right about 7, and I would have thought it was seriously like 4. So definitely, when there's no light in here, there's no light in here, but now it's starting to light up and get nice. But it's actually the coldest night by far as well. Not cold where I was shivering and worried, but I could tell I was probably down to the limit of my bag, and I wasn't wearing a hat either, kind of thing. But all right, so I probably have about 10 river crossings today, heading in this general direction. I know I'm gonna get wet. Woo, oh yeah. All right, so I may check in once or twice in this trail, but otherwise I'm gonna try to speed goat this one, get back to the car before that road gets really busy, and even by the visitor center area before it opens. All right, so first light is on me. Actually feels really, really good. But I bet you the air temp's still only about 40 out here. So of all my mornings, yeah, definitely the coldest. I can see why they call the area Pleasant Creek though. The hiking is very easy. I would say 2% grade at the most. And just nice scenery. Although in the summer, again, there's nowhere to hide out here. So I can tell I was the only one that was here last night in this canyon. All right, so I probably have an hour at most to get to my car if I hoof it and move along. But unless I see something that really pops toward me, I'll check in one more time at the car. So I'm about 3/4 of a mile from my car. And the trail back, there's many different options, it looks like. Some kind of bushwhacking, actually. This used to be a corral area here. And when I pulled in, there were some horse barns and areas you can tell where they were taking care of cattle here. So definitely some neat history here. And if that water supply is constant, I can see why. So I'm gonna go back to my car, change clothes, get cleaned up, and make the fun drive back to Denver. I was assuming it took me 6.5 to get in the park. This is longer, these back roads here, so maybe 7. But usually my way back I get lunch. So I'm hoping to make decent time just so I can get cleaned up, take care of all the fun cleanup needs when I get home, and enjoy my Sunday night.
It's a last look. All right, thanks for watching, and I hope this video turns out well.